Have you ever noticed how exhausting it is to keep pushing, affirming, and repeating the same rituals every day, hoping that somehow the universe will finally hear you? You close your eyes, you visualize, you declare bold words, you pour out your energy into vision boards, mantras, and endless repetitions. And yet, silence. Nothing changes. The life you dream about feels just as distant as before. And deep inside, a painful thought whispers, maybe I'm the problem. Maybe I'm not worthy. Maybe something in me is broken. I want you to pause right here and breathe, because that is not the truth. The truth is liberating, empowering, and very different from what you were taught. The problem isn't you. The problem is the method. You've been told to attract by forcing, to pull reality toward you as if it lives far away, hidden behind locked doors. But that is not how the universe works. Here's the shift that will change everything. You don't pull your desires toward you. You don't drag them in by willpower. You synchronize with them. That's it. The reality you long for, the love, the abundance, the freedom, the peace. It's already here, already alive, vibrating on a frequency that never stopped transmitting. The only question is, are you tuned into it? Think of a radio. If you're on the wrong station, no matter how loudly you turn up the volume, you'll never hear the music you're longing for. But the moment you tune the dial to the right frequency, the song comes in clearly. Your dream life is that song. It's not absent. It's not hiding. It's broadcasting right now. And the key isn't to force the signal. It's to align yourself so you can finally receive it. This is why so many people remain trapped, endlessly waiting. They're speaking one thing with their mouths, but transmitting another with their energy. They're trying to call in love while vibrating fear of rejection. They're affirming abundance while vibrating scarcity. They're begging for peace while vibrating chaos. And the universe, with perfect precision, isn't responding to the words, it's responding to the frequency. That's why today's message is so important, because the moment you understand this, everything shifts. You stop exhausting yourself with repetition. You stop blaming yourself for not manifesting correctly. And you start realizing that the field is not withholding from you, it's mirroring you. And the instant you change the signal, the mirror changes too. So as we begin this journey together, I want you to declare something powerful. Drop the number 111 in the comments right now. Why 111? Because it represents alignment, fresh beginnings, and the doorway into a new timeline. It's not just a number. It's a signal to your subconscious and to the field. I am tuning, I am aligning, I am ready. Write it boldly and let it mark the moment you stopped forcing and started resonating. And if this resonates with you already, don't just listen passively. Hit subscribe. Not for me, for you. Subscribe as a declaration that you're stepping into a new season of coherence, of clarity, of alignment. Because every time we gather here, you will be reminded of what your soul already knows. You were never meant to beg reality to change. You were meant to embody the frequency that transforms it. Stay with me until the very end, because what I'm about to share will not only explain why forcing never worked, it will give you the key to tuning into the life that is already yours. By the time we're done, you'll see that manifestation isn't about chasing, proving, or pleading. It's about becoming. And the moment you truly become, reality has no choice but to reflect. For as long as most of us can remember, we've been handed the same formula for creating the life we want. Think positively, repeat affirmations, visualize every day, act as if it's already yours. And while these practices may hold some truth, many people who apply them with dedication discover a painful reality. Their lives remain unchanged. They follow the rules perfectly, yet the relationship doesn't appear, the money doesn't flow, the peace they long for continues to feel distant. Why does this happen? Because the entire paradigm of attraction carries within it a hidden assumption: separation. To attract something means that what you desire is far away, outside of you, existing in some distant future or in someone else's reality. The very word attract suggests that you must pull it toward you, like dragging a heavy object across the floor. And with that assumption comes a subtle but destructive message to your nervous system. I don't have it yet. I'm still waiting. I'm still lacking. When you live from this mindset, every affirmation becomes a reminder of what is missing. Every vision board reinforces the distance. Every declaration you make to the universe carries an echo of desperation. And that desperation, whether you speak it aloud or not, is exactly what your frequency transmits. The result? More waiting, more distance, more separation. Now let's contrast this with synchronization. Synchronization is not about pulling. It is not about reaching. It is about aligning with what already exists. Your desired reality is not hiding from you. It is already alive, vibrating in the quantum field, waiting for you to resonate with it. Imagine tuning a radio. If you are on the wrong station, you will never hear the music, no matter how high you turn the volume or how passionately you plead for sound. The music isn't missing. It is broadcasting. You are simply out of tune. E.T. Kerr, same principle governs manifestation. You don't need to force reality into existence. You need to match its frequency. The money you want, the love you crave, the healing you seek, they are not distant prizes. They are present realities, and your job is to synchronize with them, not chase them. Let's take a deeper look at what this means in practical terms. When you say, I want wealth, but your nervous system wakes up every morning in a state of panic, your frequency is not tuned to prosperity, it is tuned to fear. When you say, I'm ready for love, but your heart is still armored by the wounds of betrayal, your frequency is not tuned to openness, it is tuned to protection. When you declare, I want freedom, but your daily actions reflect self-sabotage and limitation, your frequency is not tuned to liberation, it is tuned to captivity. This is why synchronization matters. The universe is not responding to your words. It is responding to your broadcast. And your broadcast is not what you want. It is what you are. It is the sum total of your thoughts, your emotions, your body language, your unconscious beliefs, your nervous system, and even the way you breathe when no one is watching. That is the transmission the field mirrors back to you. When you understand this, manifestation stops being a game of waiting. It stops being a ritual of endless affirmations. It becomes a science of resonance. You stop asking, when will my dream arrive? And you begin asking, am I currently in harmony with the frequency of my dream? Because when the answer is yes, reality reorganizes instantly. Think of two tuning forks. If you strike one and place it near another of the same frequency, the second fork will begin to vibrate without being touched. This is synchronization in action, and this is how manifestation truly works. You don't drag the second fork into vibration. You don't beg it to move. You simply resonate, and resonance spreads. This is why so many people feel exhausted on the path of attraction. They are striking the wrong fork. They are shouting affirmations while vibrating anxiety. They are building vision boards while their nervous system radiates lack. And the universe, perfectly neutral, perfectly precise, mirrors back not the words, but the underlying frequency. So let me offer you this reframe. Stop thinking of manifestation as attraction. Start thinking of it as synchronization. Stop believing that your desires are distant. Start realizing they already exist. Stop pushing, pulling, and pleading. Start tuning. Because the moment you synchronize, life doesn't slowly crawl toward you. It rearranges around you. This is the new paradigm. You don't chase. You don't strain. You don't attract. You synchronize. And once you live from this truth, you will look back at all the years of effort and realize it was never about force, it was always about frequency. If synchronization is the key to unlocking the reality you desire, then coherence is the doorway through which synchronization actually becomes possible. Without coherence, your frequency is fragmented. Without coherence, your signal is weak, inconsistent, and often contradictory. And the field, which is always precise, cannot mirror back a signal that is fractured. So, what exactly is coherence? At its simplest, coherence is when every part of you is sending the same message at the same time. Your thoughts, your emotions, your body, your nervous system, all aligned, all vibrating in harmony, all confirming the same reality. Imagine an orchestra. If one instrument plays off key, the entire performance feels dissonant. But when every instrument is tuned and synchronized, the music becomes magnetic, powerful, undeniable. Most people, however, live in a constant state of incoherence. Their mind is saying one thing, their heart is feeling another, and their body is behaving in ways that contradict both. The result is confusion, not only within themselves, but also in the frequency they transmit. For example, someone might affirm, "I am abundant," while secretly feeling unworthy, all the while making daily choices from a place of fear. That is not coherence, that is fragmentation, and the quantum field cannot amplify fragmentation. It only amplifies unity. Coherence, on the other hand, is power. When your mind, heart, and body are aligned, your frequency becomes clear, steady, and magnetic. You no longer send mixed messages to the field. You no longer declare one thing while embodying its opposite. Instead, your entire being radiates the same signal, and the universe, with perfect accuracy, mirrors that signal back to you. Science confirms this. Researchers studying the electromagnetic field of the heart discovered that when you feel emotions like gratitude, love, or deep appreciation, your heart enters a state of coherence. In this state, the electromagnetic field of your heart becomes ordered, stable, and powerful. And because your heart's field is thousands of times stronger than the electrical signals of your brain, coherence in the heart immediately influences coherence in the mind and body. This is why moments of genuine gratitude feel so magnetic. They literally recalibrate your entire energetic system. But coherence is not just about feeling good in isolated moments. It is about living in a state where what you think, what you feel, and what you embody are all telling the same story. If you think abundance, you feel safety and you act with generosity. If you think love, you feel openness and you behave with tenderness. If you think freedom, you feel trust and you move with courage. That is coherence. And coherence creates magnetism. This is why so many attempts at manifestation fail. Words alone are powerless if they are not coherent with your emotions and actions. You can say, "I am wealthy," 1,000 times, but if your heart is vibrating with fear of lack and your actions are driven by scarcity, the field will not respond to your words. It will respond to your incoherence. Think of coherence as clarity of signal. When a radio station is perfectly tuned, the music comes through sharp and clean. But if the signal is broken, full of static, it doesn't matter how powerful the broadcast is, the sound will remain distorted. Your energy works the same way. Coherence clears the static. It brings the entire system into harmony so that the field can finally hear and respond. And here's the beauty. Coherence does not require perfection. It requires honesty. It requires awareness. It requires choosing again and again to align your inner world so that every part of you is telling the same story. This is not about pretending to be positive all the time. It is about noticing when you are fragmented, pausing, and gently recalibrating. It is about choosing unity within yourself, moment by moment, until that unity becomes your natural state. When you live in coherence, manifestation is no longer a struggle. It becomes inevitable. Because the universe does not resist clarity. It mirrors it. And once your signal is coherent, your reality cannot help but reflect the power of your alignment. If coherence is the music, then your body, specifically your nervous system, is the instrument. You are not simply a mind with thoughts floating in space. You are a living antenna, continuously broadcasting and receiving signals through your state of being. And here is the part most people overlook. Your nervous system, more than your conscious thoughts, determines the frequency you are sending into the field. Consider this. You can repeat affirmations from morning until night, but if your nervous system is locked in survival mode, the signal you broadcast is fear. You can visualize freedom in perfect detail, but if your baseline state is anxiety, the frequency you emit is still restriction. You can write goals on paper 100 times, but if your body feels unsafe to expand, the broadcast will always be contraction. This is why so many manifestation practices fail. They attempt to paint over the surface of the water while ignoring the current beneath. The current is your nervous system. It is your baseline frequency, the state your body returns to when you are not actively thinking about anything. And for most people, this baseline is not abundance or love. It is tension, worry, and survival. Your nervous system has one primary job: to keep you safe. Throughout your life, it has learned patterns based on your experiences, your upbringing, and even the beliefs of those who came before you. If you grew up hearing that money causes conflict, your system might associate abundance with danger. If you experienced heartbreak, your system might associate intimacy with threat. And so, even when your mind says, "I want this," your body whispers, "No, it's not safe." And because the universe listens to your broadcast, not your words, the signal of "not safe" is what gets mirrored back. Here's the breakthrough. Frequency cannot stabilize without safety. You cannot embody abundance if your system is braced for loss. You cannot welcome love if your body is prepared for rejection. You cannot step into freedom if your nervous system equates change with threat. Safety is the foundation upon which new frequencies can rest. This is why regulating your nervous system is essential. Regulation doesn't mean pretending you're calm. It means teaching your body that it is safe to live in a new vibration. Safety allows coherence. Safety allows alignment. Safety allows your broadcast to shift from panic to presence. One of the simplest practices for creating this inner safety is conscious breath. When you breathe slowly, deeply, and consistently, you send a message to your body: we are safe now. This is not theory, it is biology. Your nervous system listens more to your breath than to your affirmations. A body that breathes in fear cannot broadcast abundance, but a body that breathes in peace begins to resonate with it. Another practice is what I call baseline anchoring. Throughout the day, notice small moments when you naturally feel calm, sipping your coffee, walking outside, or hearing a favorite song. In that moment, tell your body, this is what it feels like to live in my desired reality. You are training your nervous system to associate safety not with survival, but with thriving. The more often you do this, the more your baseline shifts. Instead of living in chronic anxiety, you begin to live in a steady hum of trust. Instead of vibrating scarcity, you begin vibrating sufficiency. Instead of bracing for loss, you begin resting in abundance. And because the field always mirrors your baseline, your external life begins to reflect these internal shifts. This is the secret most people miss. You don't manifest what you say you want. You manifest what your nervous system feels safe to hold. If your body believes that love equals danger, you will push it away. If your system equates abundance with threat, you will sabotage it. But once your body learns that it is safe to expand, safe to receive, safe to thrive, the field responds immediately. So understand this. You are not just a thinker. You are not just a dreamer. You are a transmitter. Your nervous system is the antenna that shapes the quality of the signal you send. And when you teach your antenna to feel safe, coherent, and open, you become a magnet for realities that once felt impossible. Most people live with the illusion that transformation must be grand, dramatic, or even violent, as if their lives will only change once they take a giant leap into the unknown. But the truth is humbler and far more empowering. Real transformation happens through small, repeated adjustments. These are not explosions of change, they are steady recalibrations of frequency. And when practiced consistently, these micro-shifts collapse the distance between your current self and the reality you are longing for. Think of your life as a great river. The river does not change its direction overnight. It bends slowly, 1 degree at a time, until miles downstream, the entire landscape has shifted. Micro-shifts work the same way. At first, they may seem invisible, but over time they alter the entire course of your reality. The dream that once felt like a distant shore gradually becomes the very ground beneath your feet. Morning embodiment. Starting in frequency, not in fear, each morning before the world lays its demands upon you, you have a sacred window, a few moments where your frequency is most malleable, most impressionable. This is the time to choose your state before your state chooses you. Instead of reaching for your phone, pause. Breathe deeply. Ask, who do I choose to be today? Not what you want, not what you lack, but who you are becoming. Visualize yourself, not as someone chasing results, but as the person who already inhabits that reality. Then feel it. Let your breath, your posture, and even the micro-expressions on your face reflect that embodiment. In this way, you are setting the tone not for a single hour, but for your entire day. Micro-aligned actions. Frequency made physical. Grand gestures impress the ego but rarely shift the field. Micro-aligned actions, however, carry immense power because they are signals of coherence. When you pour a glass of water with presence, you are embodying health. When you choose generosity over fear with a small amount of money, you are broadcasting abundance. When you pause before reacting to conflict, you are transmitting peace. These are not trivial acts. They are vibrational signatures, declarations to the field. This is who I am now, and reality, being a perfect mirror, reflects accordingly. Reality checking from the future self. Another powerful micro-shift is learning to consult the wisdom of your future self. Throughout the day, whenever you face a choice, pause and ask, if I were already living my desired reality, how would I respond to this? Then act from that answer, not from your current fears. If your dream self is abundant, perhaps you handle money calmly instead of with panic. If your dream self is loving, perhaps you speak softly instead of defensively. If your dream self is free, perhaps you say yes to opportunities instead of hiding. Each time you act from the frequency of your future self, you collapse time. You draw that reality closer, step by step, until it no longer feels like a dream, but like the most natural expression of who you are. Frequency. Anchoring, redefining joy and safety. Often we wait for big milestones to feel good, the promotion, the relationship, the breakthrough, but frequency anchoring invites you to connect those emotions to the small moments already present in your day. Drinking coffee in silence, feeling sunlight on your skin, laughing with a friend. In those moments, whisper to yourself, "This is how my dream life feels." By anchoring joy, peace, and safety into your nervous system during ordinary experiences, you rewire your baseline. Your body begins to recognize that your desired state is not far away. It is here. It is safe. It is real. Gentle recalibration, the art of returning. Perfection is not the goal. Alignment is not a fixed state, it is a practice. Just as a musician tunes their instrument repeatedly, you too must tune yourself throughout the day. There will be moments when you slip into fear, frustration, or doubt. Do not condemn yourself in those moments. Instead, notice, pause, breathe, return. Each time you recalibrate, you strengthen your ability to live in alignment. And over time, returning becomes easier, faster, more natural, until coherence is no longer an effort, but a way of being. The compound power of microshifts. At first, these small choices may feel insignificant, but like drops of water carving stone, their power lies in repetition. Every microshift builds momentum. Every recalibration strengthens your baseline. Every action taken from the frequency of your future self collapses another layer of separation between you and your dream life. And then, seemingly without warning, your external world reorganizes. Doors open, opportunities appear, synchronicities multiply. People respond differently. And you realize it was never magic. It was alignment. It was coherence. It was the inevitable reflection of the signals you have been sending all along. This is how timelines collapse, not with drama or struggle, but with steady, faithful alignment. The quantum responds not to effort, but to frequency. And frequency is shaped not by what you occasionally do with intensity, but by what you consistently embody through microshifts. Imagine this. You spend your morning aligning with your future self. You breathe deeply, anchor gratitude, and take micro-aligned actions. For a moment, you feel powerful, coherent, magnetic. But then, you scroll through the news and fill your mind with fear. You listen to a friend who only speaks of scarcity and limitation. You revisit objects in your home that carry painful memories of who you used to be. By the end of the day, your frequency feels drained, fragmented, heavy. What happened? You experienced frequency leaks. A frequency leak is any unconscious behavior, environment, or relationship that quietly drains your energetic alignment. Think of it like heating your home in winter while leaving the windows open. No matter how strong your heater is, the warmth escapes. In the same way, no matter how many affirmations you repeat, no matter how often you meditate, if your environment and relationships are leaking energy, your baseline frequency cannot stabilize. The power of environment. Your environment is not neutral. It carries memory. It holds vibration. Every object in your home tells a story about who you were or who you are becoming. Old clothes may carry the energy of a past identity you've already outgrown. A cluttered desk may echo confusion and stagnation. A dark, closed space may silently reinforce contraction. Conversely, small adjustments can elevate your frequency instantly. Opening the curtains to let sunlight in, playing music that inspires expansion, adding a symbol, picture, or phrase that reminds you of the life you are stepping into. Removing objects that carry emotional weight from a painful past. Each shift communicates to your nervous system, I belong to a new reality. You're creating an ecology that supports your becoming instead of dragging you backward. The content you consume. What you feed your mind becomes the atmosphere of your inner world. Every video you watch, every article you read, every post you linger on is not passive entertainment. It is input shaping your frequency. Ask yourself, does this content lift my state or lower it? Does it expand my imagination or shrink it? Does it support the vibration of my future self or reinforce the doubts of my old self? So much of modern life is filled with low-frequency content, drama, outrage, fear, gossip. Without realizing it, you might be syncing your nervous system to frequencies that are inconsistent with your desires. But when you choose wisely, when you consume content that resonates with abundance, peace, love, and truth, You are programming your inner climate to support your highest alignment. The people you surround yourself with, relationships, are powerful frequency transmitters. Every interaction is an exchange of energy. When you spend time with people who operate from fear, scarcity, or drama, your system naturally begins to synchronize with theirs. This doesn't mean you must cut everyone out of your life, but it does mean you must become conscious of the exchanges you engage in. Protecting your frequency may sometimes look like setting boundaries, limiting conversations that spiral into negativity, or choosing silence over conflict. It may mean spending more time with people who inspire you, uplift you, and remind you of your highest potential. You are not responsible for carrying anyone else's vibration. You are responsible for maintaining your own. Every soul that dares to step into transformation eventually encounters a stage that feels both frustrating and sacred at the same time. It is the point in the journey when your inner world has already shifted, yet your outer world hasn't caught up. I call this the frequency bridge. It is the span between the invisible becoming real inside you and the visible reorganizing outside you. And although it feels like the hardest stage, it is also the most essential, because it proves whether your alignment is genuine or conditional. The bridge is not glamorous. It is not the electric beginning when you feel inspired to start, journaling, meditating, and affirming every day with renewed hope. It is not the triumphant arrival when life floods you with visible confirmation and people marvel at your overnight transformation. The bridge is quiet, the bridge is subtle. It is the space where you already sense you are not who you used to be, but the world still treats you as though you are. This paradox tests the very fabric of your faith. Inside, something is undeniably different. You breathe with more ease. You respond with less panic. You notice tiny sparks of clarity that were once clouded by confusion. You even begin to carry yourself with a presence that feels foreign, yet strangely natural. And yet, when you look outward, the evidence seems unchanged. Your bank account still reflects the old struggle. Your love life appears no different. The same responsibilities and circumstances still press against you, and this is when the voice of the old self tries to reclaim its power. It whispers, "See? Nothing has really shifted. You are wasting your time." The nervous system, conditioned to equate safety with what is familiar, tempts you to collapse back into the old patterns. Doubt surges, fear grows louder. And this is why the bridge is the place where most people give up. They confuse the absence of external proof with the absence of real progress. They turn around, retreat to the comfort of their old frequency, and tell themselves the new way doesn't work. But the truth is very different. The bridge is working perfectly. You must understand this. The external is always the last to shift. The quantum field is mirroring your signal with perfect precision, but the mirror of reality takes time to stabilize. Imagine watching a delayed reflection. You smile, and a moment later, the mirror catches up. That delay doesn't mean your movement didn't matter. It means coherence is in the process of arriving. The same principle applies to manifestation. What you are embodying now is already being registered in the field. The reflection just hasn't fully arrived yet. The invitation of the bridge is loyalty. Will you remain faithful to your frequency without proof? Will you carry the vibration of abundance even when your circumstances still echo scarcity? Will you embody love even when no partner has appeared? Will you walk as freedom while life still shows chains? This is the true test, to live from the frequency as though it is real before the evidence has the chance to catch up. When you choose loyalty, you enter a state of profound empowerment. You no longer let the external dictate who you are. You become the cause, not the effect. You say, "I have decided who I am," and reality will simply reorganize in response. This is the essence of quantum creation. It is not waiting for circumstances to grant you permission. It is granting yourself permission first, and then letting the universe adjust to your signal. This doesn't mean the bridge is easy. There will be days when doubt presses hard against your chest, when old triggers flare stronger than before, when resistance roars louder as if making one last attempt to pull you backward. But this is not failure. It is proof that you are moving. Resistance intensifies because the old frequency is fighting to survive. The very fact that fear grows louder is evidence that it is losing its grip. In these moments, your greatest weapon is presence. When doubt arises, instead of collapsing into panic, breathe into your body. Feel the ground beneath your feet. Whisper to yourself, "I'm already the frequency. The evidence will follow." Presence interrupts the old story and anchors you back into your new identity. And each time you choose presence over panic, you strengthen the signal of the new self. Another key to crossing the bridge is to recognize and celebrate subtle evidence. The ego wants dramatic signs, a sudden windfall, a soulmate appearing at the door, a breakthrough that erases years of struggle. But the field often whispers before it shouts. It gives you green shoots before it gives you the forest, a lighter mood when you wake up, a small gesture of kindness from a stranger, a new idea that excites you in a way the old self never would have noticed. These are the beginnings of the reflection. When you celebrate them, you tell your nervous system, "Yes, this is real. Keep going." That appreciation magnifies the frequency and accelerates the arrival of greater evidence. The bridge is not punishment, it is preparation. It is where your new frequency proves itself not as a temporary mood, but as a stabilized identity. Without the bridge, manifestations would be fragile. They would collapse the moment stress returns. The bridge strengthens you. It teaches you to remain aligned regardless of circumstances. It transforms your alignment from something you do into something you are. So if you are walking the bridge now, do not despair. You are not stuck. You are not failing. You are in the most sacred stage of all, the space where the invisible becomes inevitable. This is the holy tension where the old self dies and the new self takes root. Stand taller in this place. Breathe deeper in this place. Speak more gently to yourself in this place, because once you cross the bridge, once loyalty outlasts doubt, once presence defeats fear, the reflection in the mirror has no choice but to change. Remember, the bridge is not asking you to wait, it is asking you to become. And the moment you become, the evidence cannot resist. It must appear because reality has no option but to mirror the truth of your frequency. Every journey of transformation eventually encounters turbulence. No matter how devoted you are to your practices, no matter how powerfully you feel the shift inside you, there will come moments when the old patterns reappear. Fear resurfaces. Doubt whispers louder. Circumstances seem to press against you with greater force than before. This stage is often misunderstood, and many people see it as failure. But it is not failure. It is resistance. And resistance is evidence that you are changing. Think of it like flying an airplane. As the plane begins to ascend, the air pressure intensifies, the wings shake, the engines roar louder, the body trembles. But this turbulence does not mean the plane is falling. It means it is rising. The very resistance you feel is the natural friction of breaking through an old atmosphere into a higher altitude. Your life works in the same way. When resistance grows strong, it is usually because you are leaving behind a layer of your old identity. Relapses are part of this process. You may find yourself slipping into old habits, reacting with fear, or doubting the path you have chosen. And when this happens, the temptation is to judge yourself harshly. You think, "I've undone all my progress." But relapse is not the same as regression. Relapse is a reminder. It shows you what frequency you no longer wish to inhabit. It allows you to notice the gap between who you were and who you are becoming. Every stumble is a mirror, revealing just how much your baseline has already changed. The key to navigating resistance and relapse is inner leadership. Inner leadership is the capacity to guide yourself back into alignment, even when your emotions try to pull you off course. It is the voice inside that says, yes, fear is loud right now, but I choose presence. It is the strength to pause, breathe, and remember your frequency when circumstances tempt you to forget. Inner leadership does not mean you never wobble. It means you always return. To stabilize the new self, you must embrace the reality that growth is cyclical. Waves of clarity will be followed by waves of doubt. Periods of alignment will be tested by moments of chaos. This is not a sign that you are weak. It is a sign that you are human, learning to embody a new vibration. And with each return, with each act of self-leadership, your signal grows stronger. This is why consistency matters more than perfection. It is not about never falling. It is about always rising. Every time you recalibrate, you reinforce to the field that your new frequency is no longer temporary, but permanent. Resistance becomes the training ground where your coherence is forged. Relapse becomes the proof that you can lead yourself back into truth. And leadership becomes the anchor that holds your new identity steady no matter what storms surround you. So when resistance visits you, smile softly. When relapse occurs, breathe gently. When fear shouts, listen but do not obey. This is not evidence of failure. This is evidence that you are evolving. Because the more you choose presence in the face of chaos, the more unshakable your new self becomes. And when your new self is stabilized, the field has no choice but to respond with clarity, alignment, and miracles. Chosen one, now that you've walked with me through this journey, pause for a moment and let it sink in. You have seen why forcing attraction keeps you trapped in cycles of waiting. You've discovered that coherence, when your mind, heart, and body speak the same language, is what creates true magnetism. You've learned that your nervous system is the antenna broadcasting your baseline frequency, that microshifts collapse timelines, that leaks in your environment must be sealed, that the bridge between inner shift and outer evidence requires loyalty, and that resistance is not your enemy but your proof of transformation. All of this leads to one timeless truth. You were never meant to chase reality. You were never designed to beg the universe for scraps of your dreams. You were born to embody the frequency of the life that already belongs to you. And when you embody it, not for a moment, not for a day, but as your new baseline, reality has no choice but to mirror your essence. The most powerful shift happens in silence, not in shouting affirmations, not in desperate rituals, but in the quiet knowing that says, I am already the one who lives this life. That kind of certainty doesn't scream. It doesn't demand, it doesn't bargain, it simply exists, steady and undeniable, like a frequency that doesn't need validation because it is the evidence. That is the silence that resets reality. So, let this be the moment you stop waiting for proof and start being the proof. Let this be the day you declare that you no longer negotiate with your dreams, no longer plead with the universe, no longer broadcast fear as your default signal. Instead, you walk as alignment, you breathe as coherence, you live as the frequency of the life you desire, now, not later. And I want you to anchor this moment with a declaration. Drop the number 111 in the comments right now. Let it be more than a number. Let it be a vibrational code. 111 represents alignment, new beginnings, and the collapse of old timelines. When you write it, you are not just typing, you are declaring, I am tuned, I am aligned, I am becoming the frequency now. Before you leave, make sure you hit subscribe, not for me, but for yourself, as a commitment that you will keep walking this path of resonance and truth. Every time you return here, you'll be reminded of the frequency you are stabilizing, and you'll be supported in holding it until it becomes unshakable. Remember this above all else. You don't attract what you want. You don't chase what is missing. You become it. And when you become it, reality has no option but to reflect your essence with precision, power, and grace. This is your silent victory. This is your new beginning. This is your frequency. And reality, it always responds.